Hello, Ron. How you doing? Just getting nice and comfy here. Getting the studio all set up. Okay, what am I doing? Do I need this? Maybe I go like that. And then I can sit like this. So how are everybody out there doing? Whoops. I don't want to hide my nice artwork, just in case anybody hasn't seen this. It's not available where I figured out how to let any of you guys buy it or anything, but or get a hold of it, but that's my first style. One of our viewer friends out here gave the idea of going with the camo, and I really like how it turned out. It's pretty wicked. And if you notice, no fangs. See, I don't have fangs on there. Like, I tried to wonder why I like this picture so much. You know, it's a scary picture. It's not a full depiction of anything, really. It's not really my thought on what we're going to be facing, because it is kind of a skull face picture too, right? So, yeah. So I'm going to look at some, see what's going on in the world out here. CMS, how's it going? So Ron is saying, hey, Tinman, Ron Whitaker from Virginia, right on. Great to contact the best tracker going today. Thank you very much on that one. What's up, Tin? Any encounters lately? I have encounters every night. Crazy as that sounds, and I don't know if you've listened. Hello, Andreas. And Andrea. Sorry. I did recognize you, but I didn't recognize the name very well. Hello, Tin Man. Greetings from the UK. Regards. It's good to see you. But CM, yeah, where I spend my nights, I'm a camper. I camp. I'm on the road. I'm working. I got a 2-year commitment, and so far, I'm best successful how I'm doing it, and I get to have experiences every night. There has been some nights where I've fallen asleep, where I have felt like I didn't end up having any experiences, didn't get any kind of indications, whether it was through sound or, you know, I guess at the nighttime it's pretty much all through sound I'm doing it, isn't it? There's not ever something that's happening that clicks on my visual, is there? Unless I would really be seeing a being in the dark, and that has not, that's nothing that's come even in for me to think about. That's why I'm doing that right now. But on the hearing level of it, yeah. And the neat one that I just uploaded tonight, if I said last night, it happened last night, but listen to it, put it to your ear. Do whatever it takes. You get to hear a dog right off the bat. No, it's a mimic dog. You get to hear a donkey do his little spastic thing. And no, it isn't a donkey. Listen to him sicking out at the end. And then you also get to hear a few tidbits of the cow. Yes, cow calling. And I've talked about it before. And finally they've repeated it. And finally they repeated it when it's on my, when I'm taping it. And the beautiful thing about you guys, in the last couple of weeks back there, I did a little drive of where I parked there, camp out, and I did a little drive around that valley tour, so you guys get to see what and that when I'm first driving out from there, that's exactly where that communication is coming from, that 100 feet or so just there, coming at me, and I'm driving, so yeah, that's what that day drive is about. So you get to kind of get a good feeling of where they can hide, and it's anywhere. Speaking of that, I'm going to come and read some of your guys' comments, but look at this book I just got. A used bookstore. I just went in, and then I was in a used store, and I seen the book section, so I went over there. The Oxford Encyclopedia of Trees of the World. And you know what? I've already looked in the book, You know, I read a couple of things. I went on to a couple of the visual different things about it, and then I came across a couple that just blew my mind. Like, I don't think they have anything that gives direction of understanding bark. Do you not find that funny? They give direction and all that kind of understanding our bark, fish bark, whatever kind of barks. But that's one thing we're going to notice in our old literature and stuff like that. And that's part of why I brought, what's his name, Charles Darwin into it, is because you could tell he was also confused about what's going on with the trees. And we're figuring out what's going on with the trees. That's what this is so much has turned into. So let me go say hello to everybody. Wow. You guys are doing lots of chatting. Cool. What's up? So, Bigfoot Memphis. Hey, right on. What up, Ian? I left my live stream to come to yours. Oh, did you? Cool, brother. Right on. Andrea is saying, do you sell t-shirts? You know, I will eventually. That will be stuff that comes. And you guys always remember to remind me that, how long you've been around hanging around too when that comes down, that kind of stuff. If you're interested, how can I get your email? It should be on my channel thing there, but if you can't find it, you love my videos. Thank you very much, Andrea. And I've known that for a long time that you enjoy them. What should I say there? That go for my tinnitus journal at gmail.com. And that's pretty much how it's spelt there. If you can punch it in and I'll tell you if you got it right if you want. Hazel, how's it going, reptiles? Hey, my friend and friends all out there, right on. Hey, Tinman, Memphis Jr., hey, how's it going? From the U.S., Dwayne, hey, right on. Bigfoot Memphis is saying, yeah, they mimic crows, dogs, birds, and I'm serious, man. The cows, those mules, donkeys, whatever you want to call them. I've put up a couple of those lately, and just listen to those. They're just, I was sitting there, when you know a dog's barking and you can see the dog there, just start listening to his bark and stuff, and listen how on he can be with his different kind of screw-ups. It's the same with us when we talk, and, we throw out things, but we'll generally be sounding the same. A dog's trying for that thing. So I'm starting to study dogs for sure a little bit more, just to figure out. So I was doing that today. One guy was, where I was parked there, I was having a beautiful view of Baker, and this dog didn't like how close I was to his yard. And I was doing different things too. I was communicating with the dog, which was trying to protect his property, and I was being nice to him, and sometimes he would mellow out, basically, because I was talking to him and kind of letting him know it's cool and stuff. So, it's different language, different culture with different dogs. I get all of it, but they are great imitators, they are. Sound imitators and forest growth imitators. That's what tree growth imitators, bark imitators. They're really, in my books, they're really the designers of the trees and the barks and stuff. If you haven't heard me say it yet, if they haven't touched a tree, in my experience now and deep experience in the last 12, 14 months here, I would say they have it in their heart to touch every tree. Like an ant has it in his heart to do exactly what we see ants do. There's like 5 different jobs or whatever. You're the queen, you're this, you're this, you're this. Something like that. And they have that in their heart so much as we can see. Or what we have in our heart is probably to survive very first and foremost. And that's what I think it is. It's that possession of them. It's in their heart that strong that they're here for the trees, maybe the landscape maybe it really is the caretaking of the land, but I see their trees as their first and foremost job, and I see all the other ones, I don't know, They're really trippy. When you start to realize how much rock fracking and breaking they're doing out there just in our countryside and stuff, it's just really weird. So Hazel is saying that she's starting to get into stuff. Be careful with your stuff. And like I was talking to somebody a couple of lives back there, because she has acreage. And she probably has had some suspicions of stuff going on already, whether she realizes it or not. And so this is her part of venturing out probably, and then coming across me, and then I happen to be a Canadian, so she'll kind of get, connect on that level probably a bit. She's just up here in the Alberta borderline there, so I exactly know, what her place is all about and stuff. And she described it also and such like that. And this is my strong thing that I said to her. Do you start sticking your nose and your eyes onto them and paying attention to them, they're going to do it back. There's people out there who are being irritated because they started doing that now. There's people who are out there that are scared now because they started doing it. Sometimes you don't know what kind of a relationship you're turning on. You ever have goats? A lot of personalities in there in the goats. And if you ever try a certain fight on one of the bucks or something like that, where you're trying to show him, no man, I'm the man. And if you're not successful in getting that bluntness of piece of information through, you might have a guy who wants to fight you all the time. A goat's safer fight than a sheep and a ram. That's why I'm kind of using it too a lot. They're a lot more fun. But if you know what I'm talking about, then I'm basically saying we probably have a whole slew of personalities. They have a trademark of what they're supposed to be following, on how they're supposed to deal with us and interact with us and stuff. The culture of that may be being changed, or for some reason we're just connecting and opening up a little bit more. And so be careful which buck, which male you're messing with. I've been growled at before. I argued in the growl for over a minute. He would not give up, and he only started to get me more scared as that minute was dragging on to 2 minutes or whatever. So, and I gave up. And ever since then, they never gave me that kind of a hard time since, but they've given me a lot of time. A lot of time. If trees could talk, oh, what they could tell. Well, they're already talking, Ron, if you ask me. And you just have to study what they go through. It's like our kids. You see your kids every day. Hey, what's that scuff on your face about? Hey, when did you get your hair cut this morning? Or whatever type thing. Life's going on, you get to see them all the time. If you started doing that with your trees and you actually spent 5 minutes a day and kind of looked up and down and kind of looked at his skin and seen what his eyes look like and what his arms are looking like and where he's shaved, where he's got a rash, where he's got a cut, where he's got some infection, some mold or something like that, and you started doing that with your trees every day, you would you would for sure be able to detect it in a way that's really interesting, because if you split it out to every month, then you come along and, oh, this gash, I don't know how that happened. That must have happened over a few days or something like that when that truck was over here or something like this. But if you went out there every day, you'd know that actually, hey, that happened. It must have been about this time yesterday. So, yeah, that's what it's partly about to me. Thank you so much for the thumbs ups and all that, guys. I appreciate the support. Peace, D Stewart. Bigfoot Memphis. Yeah, I'll sell a t-shirt when I won the lottery. Thank you. Good. Laugh out loud, because the Bigfoot hasn't paid off. Yeah, I know. But the thing is, in my books, it's it's a new industry. There is things already starting to expand about it. Like, one of the things is the tree service companies. If you think about it, especially you, Bigfoot Memphis, look around your neighborhood and you can see how many trees, how the city's really grown and stuff like that. But if you really did a count back in, I don't know, say 30 years back, how many trucks you had around for servicing roads the trees way, and then you check now, that number is going to probably be a lot bigger. In some ways we think, yeah, but there's an increase in population. But when all that happened and stuff, we also increased our prices and all that kind of stuff. So we don't have a big deal in a way, not even knowing that how often Hydro is doing any of their repair things. And their repairs, from my claims, are affected by these guys. So that means the prices are affected by these guys. So you see how that's part of the industry. How that part of the industry they might change is if they end up realizing, holy cow, that they wreck a pole this often approximately. They have a percentage. Maybe they'll decide to start switching over to the concrete poles. Maybe they'll figure out how to do some kind of a metal wrap. Maybe they'll figure out how to do something where they put a low voltage down a certain amount of the pole. So Bigfoot doesn't want to mess with it. But you have to be pretty sneaky with that stuff because they'll work around. That one tree base that I showed recently where it's people are even thinking, oh, that's just a beaver and stuff. Well, that wire's been around the tree forever. And people aren't realizing that, no, that's part of the helping that beaver didn't do this, people. And I'm showing you the chips of wood. Remember we were talking about that, Memphis? How there's 4 cuts on one side of the wood and, yeah, that kind of stuff. You're going to do another stream when you finish? Okay. It snowed the other night. And this is Ron saying this. And I went out the next morning and got 30 photos of Sasquatch prints. Nice. I know that word. Mountains are alive. Yeah, how is that word? You know the word. Everybody else can read it. D is saying, dogs bark to sound alarm. Do Bigfoot do same? Yeah, but it's a whole different thing because they're able to use it in a communicative way too, right? Because, and how I'm coming up with that is sometimes when you're working them, like there's things that I'm doing out there where I'm trying to spin them up a little bit too, because there's one barking over here, there's one barking over there, there might be one deeper back in there, there's one that's fakes that he comes from this house but hasn't done it for a few days now, and different things like that. On one of the light ups when that whole valley was really going, and I think I put like there's 10, or at the end of it I put like 7. I believe there would be at least 7 out there, and they're just lighting up that Canyon Valley where I do that drive out of there and stuff. You kind of see the Canyon Valley that stopping for me? No. Yeah, so you see that Canyon Valley in that one that starts with a 10. So when you're just, and then put it to your really good to your ears where you have a really good hearing of it. And that's another thing, guys, when you're out there and you're going to do listening, go like this. It is so worth it. Even though I got my hearing condition going on, doing this, man, it doesn't matter if you have a hearing condition or not, you almost double your power. Sometimes you'll notice, and that's a test that I'll do sometimes. Say I got a noise coming back from this way or whatever, and I sit there and I'm doing whatever I'm doing, and sometimes I'll start going like this, and you can maybe even get a little control out of them, or maybe they'll stop, and then you go like this, and then they start again. You do this, and they stop. You start to walk away and take the attention away from them. They might start again. Think about that. They have a curiosity about us, and if they're willing to hang out near you, that's in part what's going on. I don't think it's some ploy of taking over. I think they might just become a pain in the ass, and they might be taking people and our pets and stuff like that. There's a slight chance with that stuff. That stuff has to really come to a full opening, but it snowed out It snowed there, okay. And Doug's barking an alarm. Can I ask, have you written a book yet? Not yet. I would defo buy it. Neat. You know, I said not yet because I don't know myself if I've really got the capabilities of so much writing a book. But I look forward to taking part in a book that is written on, a lot of what's going on here, a lot of this adventure, a lot of this discovery. I mean, there's a few different ways that I guess I could even look at a book, eh? Bigfoot, Memphis, hey Ron. Appalachian, yeah? Appalachian, something like that. It's got my name in the end of it, so it's got to be good. Yes, they are Memphis. I've got several people out there in those mountains that are getting lots of activity. What is it? I think as they're spending more time making themselves... And that's what I'm trying to figure out, you guys. Like, their eyesight, like, I've done tests on their eyesight and stuff, and on their hearing and stuff, and especially their eyesight just blows me away. One thing I believe they also do is when they're doing their mimicking, not only will they pretend they're a dog, but they'll do like the ventriloquists would do. Remember when we were kind of young, we always thought more about ventriloquists really throwing their voice way over there and stuff, and now it's just become kind of about this doll thing. But I remember when I was young, I used to think ventriloquist kind of people could do that kind of stuff. But there's certain control when we're using items to deflect or redirect noise and stuff. And they have a certain amount of that thing figured out. So to really come to real terms how close they are in front of you, I say you can't fully judge that sound measurement that you might be trying to do. You might be closer, might be further, might even be a little bit over that way or something like that. So whatever that would mean makes sense. Tinman, thanks. You're welcome. Be careful, Hazel. Yeah, I know. Because, Hazel, are you still around? Because one thing about it, as I've kind of stated before, you kind of got to get into yourself and realize and think to yourself, if you were totally frantic, freaked out, upset, almost like if you were just standing somewhere in the middle of the forest naked, how would that make you feel? Like, do you know off the bat you would be freaking out? Do you know off the bat that, no, I'd be in the survival mode? I'm that type of a woman. Like, I wouldn't have gotten to there. The survival thing would have kicked in and stuff. Then you're researching yourself for how powerful you are, because what I'm talking about is, I've given this example before. You take a man, you put him out there. You take a woman, you put him out there. You do that exact thing. You strip them down to nothing. You strip them down to nothing. I kind of have a relationship with a lot of men, and I'm a certain kind of a man and stuff, and I know a lot of men where they go with their thinking when they're dealing with when they're out in the wilderness. They always know where north is, for an example. Something like that is just always permanently going on. Lots of times I've been with lots of women, and they're not always paying out to those kind of things. They're just a different being. We're here for different reasons, or we got different characteristics. However, we got to be careful that we're not insulting people now. But anyways, so no big deal. Anyways, so now you put yourself out there, and one of the things that they do for tripping us out and stuff is through sound. It'll be visual a bit, like a branch falling, a tree falling, so then there is visual stuff, but not visual where they bring themselves into the visual, so too much of it, unless I would imagine if they're actually into taking a person, they might become visual all of a sudden, just, in front of you, and you faint, whatever goes on there, right? But other than that, they would be staying out of visual, but doing tripping you out. So if you happen to have a dog and stuff, what they're trying to do is they're trying to trip your dog out. I'm pointing to the lower, the dog beside you here. They're trying to trip the dog out before they're tripping you out even. And how they can do that, I would imagine they get something with that sound stuff that we don't hear on certain levels. Birds maybe do, dogs do, we say, and so on and so forth. So that kind of stuff. That's maybe how they communicate a lot or get a lot of interaction with the little birds maybe around when they have been around. Even with me, the few times that I've had my experiences, the little birds have been around, and I've always kind of wondered in my mind if they were communicating with the birds on a level that I'm not hearing very well. And those little birds like that, if you have a farm, if you have a place with the little finches and stuff, if you go out there and you're just whistling, they'll come and visit you and check you out and see. And then after a while, they start to realize you're not a predator, and then those birds will become your friend. And it'll be the same thing with these guys, right? And that's how they're able to obviously get the finches around us easily. And I know that for a fact because I was having interactions with little finches at the same time as my big interactions there. So be careful, Hazel. Put on a fur coat, and would you look like Bigfoot, man? Who's that? Are you saying me, Gary? Hey, Gary, how's it going? Be careful, Hazel. Partner, yes. Exactly. The partner is big. That's good advice, yep. Sasquatch population is crazy like rabbits, eh? Yeah. And that's what I think, Ron, is I've said it before, I've said it out, birth control or yeah, whatever. But anyways, they're not going to have a birth control. And if they are out of control somehow in birth, and they are kind of like rabbits, then what we're seeing is going on right now. Just imagine it in 10 years. Right? So and then what I'm seeing, now that I was telling you about the book, one of the things that just with a couple of page flashes, is I noticed what I've been telling you guys out here is, I'm just going to go with the evergreen species for starters. We used to see where 90% of them or whatever of them had all single top trees. They're all single top trees. Or maybe those numbers weren't that huge now that I'm relating that these guys have been around forever, but the numbers were way bigger. Right now, I don't know if I could really go out there and find a tree that is still a single top and it hasn't been replaced, at least. Like I've told you before, they might even just 2 feet down, sometimes even right near the top, they just break it off, they do whatever and allow it to regrow itself for whatever reason that is. And what that does in part, it draws up a lot of energy from down below. In my year of time, I've seen them doing this aggressively. I look in this book now that I have here, and I open up to this one page, and I'm just seeing acres and acres of these trees, and they're all just single trees. It was like a place that hasn't had the horde effect, the huge effect. Our place all around here and stuff like that. Just go out there now, you guys yourselves, and look. Right now is where you're going to be seeing a lot of evergreen, at least in our climate, a lot of evergreen trees are really popping, and they're standing out amongst all the trees again. They're going through a growth right now as we speak. And yeah, I'm getting excited here, so it is what it is. Sasquatch population is crazy. Some people believe that they have certain periods of mating. I don't believe in that. I don't think I'm going to believe in that either. Who was that? Memphis, yeah. Ron saying, I've heard alpha is the big daddy. And too bad for male juveniles. And I've heard they all are all free for all. Yeah, but where are you hearing that, Ron, you know? If you say you've kind of looked into it and you have something that supports that, then we'd have to see that. But, you know, it's like the stuff that I'm telling you, And I'm talking about, I admit that some of my stuff's going to be wrong and some of it's going to be off, and I don't have a problem with it. But it truly is all that I've been learning in the last 14 months. None of it is coming from anything anywhere else other than what I've learned. A couple of stories of guys telling me of experiences recently around in this area where I live with growling and stuff. I'm sorry about a poor connection going out a bit, guys. Hopefully I'm staying clear enough. But you know what I mean? So alphas are the big males, generally the elder of tribes. Andrea is saying, Tinman, you can have someone write it for you. Yes, I hear you. It's called a ghostwriter. Okay. They do all the work. Ghost Rider to me, or no, that's Rider. Ghost Rider. Motorcycle, you ever see Ghost Rider? Anyways, Ghost Rider. They do all the work, and all you have to do is talk to them and tell them your story and so on. Very interesting. That will be coming along, I think. I hope. If I last that long. If not, then maybe you'll have to write my story. Ron Whitaker, Tinman, have you encountered any albino solid white squatches? No, not that I have any clue that I have. You know, obviously if there's a white one there, then he's using a good backdrop or something like that, right? So, but as far as I no, not at all. Apachean, is that the word now? Apachean. Okay, I think it must be that. Apachean. Tongue twister for me. Runs from PA to Georgia. Oh, okay. Appalachian Mountains, huh? Good mate. Excuse-moi. Ron. So Bigfoot Memphis is saying, Ron, check out Memphis Jr. Sasquatch Jr. motion and caught white Sasquatch. Oh, disappearing into an orb. Ah. Andrea is saying, Tinman, I am on the same page. I also think that Bigfoots do talk to birds. You know, if I'm not going to necessarily, like when you're saying talk, like we're talking right now, but we can communicate with a bird. If you're sitting there and you're flapping your wings around and the bird's looking at you going like, what are you doing? You know, and he's looking at you and he's changing his position where you're doing that. There's a communication actually happening there. It's a confused communication, but there's a communication that's happening around there. My thing that I get out of birds is they just are mostly making a noise. But there's a sound for alarm. There's a sound for happiness. There's all this kind of stuff that goes on. So on that level, that's how I would think that they're communicating them. Same way that I'm kind of doing it with the birds. I'm just throwing out stuff, communicating, and it's up to the bird if he wants to trust me and accept my lingo or not. You get me? Makes sense? And that's how I see the Bigfoot. Kind of their ability for doing it and stuff. Thanks for the thumbs up, all that stuff, guys. Yeah, I'm going to really enjoy this book. Look at this. This is something we don't see anymore. Kind of a turned page, but, you know, we have huge apple orchards up in our valley and stuff. And I never see apple orchards like this anymore, where they're covered in apples like that. Well, I know we grow them different and we prune them different and so on and so forth, but... And now, in my books, if we were to come across these trees now, the style that they would be is, in my books, these trees now probably have a formation. You see how they get kind of kinky and stuff like that up in here? That's part of what... I'm trying to explain it as best as I can, but they've got that's the way. They've gotten very aggressive on their kinkiness of trees. Somehow they're involved in that. How? I don't know. But I know I'm close enough to know they are. Partly I know how they are. Like there's different ways where they'll injure a tree and they'll be able to get a certain amount of nutrients going into that area, swelling the tree, making the tree bigger and stuff. Then they're capable about doing bendings and all that kind of stuff. Ah, cool. Well, I'll have my little adventure with it. There's a few species of birds that warn them that people are near. Yeah, for sure, I get that too. Like I think the ravens and the crows in certain areas. One thing about our area has been seagull change just in this area. Is the seagulls heavier in your area this year? Like, do they come inland wherever you happen to live or anything? Like, I'm off the big river that's off the ocean by the way the crows fly. I don't know, let's say 60 miles or something. So it's not really that far for the seagulls to come in, so they might be just getting a little bit more comfortable in here or something. It's just something I'm throwing around in my head. Yes, the crows work for them, for sure. Yeah, how about you in your area there, Memphis? Have you noticed that there's not very many old in the population of the crows? There's not very many old ones, I noticed. They all seem to be pretty young, whippersnapperish, and quite sassy guys and stuff. How long does Bigfoot live? You think they start off small like rabbits and grow slow like trees? No, I think they grow faster than us, size-wise, and age. I think it's going to probably be, kind of in the, I don't know. I have no idea. It's just kind of a speculated guess on age. I'm going to go with something like 50 years or something. And with birth size, I think that they're going to be smaller than us when they're born. Something like that. So I'm thinking that they might be a 5-pound kind of birth rate size. And I don't think they're going to live very long. It's kind of just... I think we would be busting more of the older population. When we get older, we flop up more and different things. So, gotta keep looking at the whole picture. As you look, and you're just thinking you're seeing a Sasquatch right now. Wow, I'm seeing a Sasquatch. At the same time, be thinking, where is he walking? Where is he looking? What's he doing? These kind of things. Don't just be in awe that you got a picture of a Sasquatch or a video of him. And then, when you get the video home, you do the exact same thing. That's kind of what I feel they missed in doing with Patty. Like, we never heard much about that. And that's why I put out that video talking about now with my experiences, what I think went on with Patty. And it is an option. It really is a life option for the type of being that I've been watching. How I've seen different things going on with their family orientatedness. And I've been growled at. So when I was going through that experience and stuff, I'm also trying to determine whether I think... When I was talking to that guy, and if you listen to it, I was trying to figure out at the same time if it's a male. I'm trying to figure out how serious the guy is. And, it's not... I wasn't just in this, hearing, whatever going on. I don't know if you've seen or watched that one, but basically you got somebody on the other side of some bush, and I actually think there's more than one there, thrashing away. And I think it's this kind of thrashing at trees. But you hear them snapping and breaking and stuff. You're... The very beginning, the very first 3 seconds, the 3 to 4th second, you hear the loudest growling grunt at me that happens, but I didn't really notice it because I made a noise with my sheet. I was making noise in the gravel. But at the very end, when I walk away, about 2 seconds prior, me saying, okay, I'll leave, there again I hear another duplicate growl of the first one, but it was not even half the volume. And that one made me realize, oh no, this guy might come after me. Like, he's mad. And that's why I just said, okay, I'm out of here. Kept my composure, kept on walking. And after moments just walking up the trail or whatever, I'm re-talking a little bit and pointing my camera again and stuff. And, you know, for starters, one thing I don't say very often is there's a whole story to this. And he tracked me over to there. He followed me. And because he started to growl, he actually took it from tracking. He took it into, what do you call it when they're, whatever, you know that word. When they're more than, not hunting, but just before hunting. Squirrels take believes they live between 150 to 200. Oh yeah, D. Stewart. Who is D. Stewart? I think the Greys are older than we may speculated. Yeah, I've heard to 200. Yeah, well, how much longer can our government play dumb on their existence? I don't know if the government's as smart as you think, Ron, because I kid you not, it's if you really start watching the trees and stuff and watching the skins on all your trees, go to one of your big parks. Just watch the language of the trees. You can see it change daily. You can see it change weekly. You'll be able to see, and you'll start realizing this isn't natural. This is something bothering the trees, and there's no bears around here, and a bear can't make that kind of a claw mark, and you know, a beaver can't do this, and so on and so forth. And you'll start realizing that you should start to come into this thing. Yeah, well, maybe they do have something with the trees. Well, now if you went into the science part of the trees, we have scientists around the world that are confused on some of the tree behavior. Specifically, the huge amount, I think, of the peeling process and see, that's why I'm saying they've picked up on a lot of processes. Now we don't have trees that end up one-topped very often. They all end up getting broken off, and most of them are coming up with multiple tops now. Another process, a lot of breeds of trees are being stripped of their skin and stuff, like an arbutus. So study into the arbutus tree, realize that one already surprises the scientists, and you look at their reasoning for it, they really don't have a clue. And when that bark generally is falling off the arbutus tree, somehow, they don't know, but it peels away or whatever through its process, they don't even comment that it disappears from the ground. They don't, one scientist might say, oh, the wood chips or the wood chipmunks come and take all of it or whatever. But that bark is probably a real bark that they liked. And they started transforming that tree from the skin it originally had into whatever it became. And then they tried stripping it, and it never died. And we always think that is almost like a sea air type tree. And now we're starting to realize that no, it isn't. It's being done in different areas all over the place. And, I would imagine that one will grow. And what I actually think can happen is, because we have them out here fairly heavily on our ocean and stuff, so I wouldn't doubt it if they take whether they take clippings or they take the seeds from them or whatever, but I wouldn't doubt it that they will actually transfer. And I believe you like Memphis and different guys like that. I'm sure you guys believe that too, to some extent, that they'll actually take that and, they take it across Canada. I don't know, but do those kind of things where... So in other words, you might say you found a little gold thing. And you think, hey, I know this is a gift from them. They put it there or whatever type thing. Well, that little gold bracelet might not be from around your area the way that I look at it. It might be from the other state. It might be, I think there's something that goes on when they hook up. I think there's something goes on that they're trading information. Because the aggressive behavior that they do, and I know I'm trained into now, I know I would have recognized it before. I would have been confused by it and stuff. I remember many times being confused by the coyotes. I think I told you guys even a story when I was 16 approximately years old. This dog did this trip out in the black of night. It was this dark. I was walking down the middle of the road. I could barely see the lines. Cultus Lake, huge mountains like this, so very black. The trees are like this on the spot where I'm walking. All of a sudden, some dog just in front of me, about 5-6 barks, just roar, 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 just all around me. I just whip off my jacket as quick as I can. I'm doing this thing. It just disappeared. Went away, just disappeared. In this last year is when I thought to myself, hey, that story I've been telling about that dog that tripped me out that time, and I always told this story and always called it a dog, never ever said it a wolf, nothing like that, and now I'm willing to change that over to, I bet you I was fooled. Yeah, that's what I fully believe now, because that was such an interesting story. It really was a story that I've told a dozen times, maybe even more, so. So now, basically, the big thing to pay attention to, I think, for science is they need to understand how trees are reacting and evolving under the skin changing. So watch out on yours. I think that's the big one that's coming. For some reason, it seems like they put the skins of trees through all into these lives, and now they're bored. And they're going, well, let's just break the tops then. That'll give us something to do. Hey, how about if we start stripping them? Okay, we'll just do a little strip on that part right there and see if it lives, that species. Like I've almost seen, like, on that level of testing. I swear, I promise to you. Where it's like, yeah. Very interesting stuff. I really almost didn't want to come on here tonight, you guys. I got this hyperacusis and tinnitus, so my head's just screaming, and you just kind of, we can all bitch, right? But I'm so glad. The point is, I'm really glad that I ended up coming and hammering through. How much longer can our government? Yeah, I've been barked at and huffed at. Yeah, Ron, I believe it's all fixing to come to a head on the subject. Yeah, it's got to. Look at the media coverage on the structures being built in the national parks. Or is there getting to be some big media coverage on that stuff? They're doing some big structures and stuff. Andrea's saying, thanks a lot for the thumbs up, all you guys too, eh? Appreciate all the support. Andrea's saying, I have heard recently that they communicate through their minds. Do you think that's possible? Well, there's people who said that, and I don't want to whatever with it. I've been around so many types, things, and maybe because my tinnitus and my hyperacusis, they can't do it. That's all I can say. Other than that, I've sat there and I've tried to be that open to it. And then I've listened to those two different doctors, or one's maybe a professor and one's a doctor or whatever. At least two anyways, and they're older chaps and stuff like that. One just here in Seattle, and then another one somewhere or whatever. And the one that, and they both have their little bit of stories of this mind conversation that things do with them and stuff. And I just hear too many holes. I think, listen to my story. I'm saying, guys, they have to do with the trees. Check into it. I've been saying it for months. Go check your own trees. Study your own stuff. Now I'm having people come back to me like Mark, the whatever beast, monster beast. He is, and there's a number of ladies out there or whatever type thing. Ladies like it the most, where they kind of click with it and stuff. So they've been watching and noticing trees changing. They've been noticing that beautiful trees that used to so many times be, let's just kind of say, shaped like this pyramid Christmas tree shape, now have these types of branches that are doing weird things, and they maybe one time you even drive by, and the next time you drive by, and it's like those branches have been plucked through, and they've been cleaned through for some reason. Part of that is, I believe could be, is because every time they're taking something out, it's just like us. If we take something off here, we send energy to repair it. The tree is sending energy. So there's a certain amount of different cycles that they're doing. and blah, blah, blah. And then so in saying this, that's why we had the hordes of leaves. We had probably triple our leaf production this year, is my calculation in that. And it's too bad because we've never in the history of man probably thought of doing those kind of calculations. We never thought of treating a tree really awesome because of his skin. We always just think like there's better techniques that we're going to come up with their skin, because their skin's really important. Will everybody abide by it and stuff like that? No. Will we still use them for firewood? Yep. You know, it's kind of like a mushroom. Remember we were talking about that the other day? And we eat mushrooms. We get high off of mushrooms. It's not like we're doing bad and then we poop our mushrooms out and we're giving it back, and it's all this cycling process. Everybody who thinks you're wasting water when you take good fresh water and it's been filtered or something and you're going like this, you're not wasting the water. That water is locked into our cycle. And people have to realize that. So all of our life is locked into our cycle. So that's part of what helps us people who might perish or something like that, not be so weak about your perishing, is just realize you're locked in here somehow anyways. You're probably not going anywhere. I've watched you for years and Jungle Jim, yeah? I haven't done much back at the Jungle Gym thing. I gotta get back to that. Hey, Florida Boogers, how's it going? We've been just having a nice chill kind of hangout and talking and stuff. And I'm trying to push people on my tree theories a bit and stuff. Maybe not push anymore. I'm planning to go over to Vancouver Island here, and I'm going to be in Victoria area. I'll say hi and stuff, but I don't know. I'm going to try not to. I want to say I just want to take a break. I want to say that I'm just going to shut off my YouTube and I'm not going to turn it on for, I don't know, a month, 2 months. Still do my stuff and almost do it differently. Like just go out there and start doing it strictly as research, not as the style that I'm doing it, where I'm kind of giving it out to you guys. But more of a research where more point formed and such like that. Get more into my tree stuff and different farming techniques that they're using, and maybe even get into more verbally explaining what I'm doing when I'm working on my interactions with them and stuff. Yeah. Good man, right on. You're very welcome, Andrea. She's saying, thank you for my knowledge. I have to go to bed now, right on. It's 4 a.m. there. Well, you make sure you get some sleep. Ron is saying, sometimes you gotta cool the jets. Yeah, sometimes you do, I guess, eh? You do that when you retire. Well, I'm thinking I'm going to call her a night, guys. Thanks very much for all your support. And, you got any questions or anything? You want me to explain anything differently? You want me to try to make a point better that you're not really getting that I'm saying? Or you think it just could be done clearer? I realize, just like anything, What I'm talking about, I have lots of answers in my head about it. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give you guys those answers so you have something to be able to understand. I'm not trying to necessarily give you all the answers, and that's in part why I say to you so many times, just go start studying your trees. You're going to figure stuff out for yourself. Go to a big park and start wondering why it's marked up like that. You know, one of the first things that I realized when they were really involved with trees, guys, is I went to a place where it's so remote that it's mostly just ocean loving kind of people there and stuff like that. They're going to be having their campfires, they're going to be surfing, they're going to be swimming, they're just going to be having good times, sitting back, doing whatever they're doing. There's going to be a few hoodlums in the groups and here and there and stuff like that. But when I went to that in particular place, I seen unbelievable amount of cutting marks. Hatchet kind of marks, like little axes, different things, cuts, you know. Like, I just can't get into it. It was just, and it was horribly the amount. I had never seen anything so drastic in my life and stuff. Well, that was pretty much about 12, where am I right now? So that was right around now. That could have been right around now. 12 months ago, right? In December, because I went back and forth to the island a couple of times. So I'm talking about on Vancouver Island, pretty really remote place. And not to say lots of people go there, but when you're at the campgrounds and stuff like that, you realize that it's just a regular campground. It's not like it's only full for a couple of months out of the year and stuff like that, and then sporadic and stuff like that for the rest of the time. But yeah, and it was just abusive. And it was just out of the character of so many people are coming from different countries to that in particular place. Because like I said, they're surfing there. And so you get me? There's all this mentality of people that are going to be loving the nature that are going there. And then I'm looking at these trees and I'm literally seeing thousands of damage marks. Damage. And I understand wind and stuff, and you guys know who I am now. That one there just blew my mind to realize, okay, there's because I had already come down trees that are bigger than I can wrap my arms around. This big, I'd say, where they were cut down within this much of a throat. So they got cut in like that and cut in like that, and I can't wrap my arms that big. So you can understand how dangerous that would be for a human to cut in like that. And they were cut in equally. And the way they're cut, it's like they were stepped on purpose, all those cuts, to make it almost look the size of a hatchet, almost in a way that it would be a human and it would be like this. Anyways, I've come across at least a few trees like that have been knocked like that. Anyways, so I'd imagine they get it in so far and then they get somebody up there doing a little bit of a shaker, do whatever they do to get it down. But yeah, in those very first days, I was really confused by that because I came across it my very first days, very first week, I think was the first one I came across. And you know, it was blowing me away because in the back of my mind, I knew it was impersonating like a human's way to cut. But it wasn't good. It wasn't like the way we would be swinging our axe, and we wouldn't have that kind of a mouth, and you know, it wouldn't be completely level, chopped all the way around, and then really well chopped in like this, because the human would be knowing that tree, you just don't have any clue which way it's coming down. And like I said, there's more than one, so you're going to start checking out your trees there, Ron? Cool. You're welcome. So I'm coming up to my 1 hour. Thank you very much, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good time getting prepared for this season of Christmas and snow, and probably a lot of you are in snow. I found out today that they're kind of thinking that we won't be getting snow until January here, so that's kind of neat because I'll be over on the island in January. So that's nice, and I'm going to be having nice and cozy. I hope they have wood fireplace. It's an old home, so it might have a wood fireplace. It's like a 1904 home. I'm going to be having such a good time. I'm so looking forward to that. On Christmas Day here, I'm having such a great time. I'm going to tell about this because I might as well brag. On Christmas, I just found out from one of my daughters yesterday that they're renting, for my Christmas present, they're renting a hotel for the night here in town. And we're all going to be just hanging out and doing the same thing that we did last year. And yeah, you know what it's about. It's just about being with the family. So we could be with all four of my kids. And I think they're all single, so that's perfect. And yeah, we'll just hang out there, and there's a swimming pool and a restaurant, and then breakfast in the morning and all that kind of stuff. And then yeah, and then I was thinking I'm going to go, I might maybe the next day or within a couple of, after having that good of a good time, then I'm thinking immediately maybe I'll just take the, if anybody wants to know, take the Tsawwassen ferry, not the Victoria ferry, but the Tsawwassen ferry, and kind of be up north on the Vancouver Island, and then go down Vancouver that way, and try to take 2 days to do it or something, and do some of my exploring, but only on my route, not necessarily going up island further or anything like that, just on the route down, and maybe do a couple of, any of you islanders know that there's always nice trees on the islands. Yeah, very awesome present. Thanks, Ron. Hey, puppy, how's it going? I was just pretty much coming to an end here. Had a good hangout time and speaking my stuff. One of my subjects. It's my primary subject these days. So peace out to all. Thanks for hanging out, and most important videos, my first face-to-face. If you haven't watched that one and you want my ultimate, go to my first face-to-face and watch at 2 minutes is where it does an awesome focus, and I'm talking about right there. You want to be looking in that palm of my hand, right about there, okay? On my first face-to-face. Other than that, go to the baboon, big-headed baboon, left profile, something like that. And yeah, once again, but further back there, ways back here. And this area in here is most of the time where he is. And I give a really good description of him and stuff. And other than that, I got lots of other good videos. If you really need to get a hold of me and you want me to talk about another video, then that's a good way to do it. Is because I always kind of go through my new video uploads and kind of check over the comments over those more aggressively over each week or something. So, if you ever want me to talk about my first face-to-face and you're interested right now, and you can always do that. Just get a hold of me there, say, hey, Tinman, I left you a message, blah, blah, blah. And I'll jump over there and I'll try to answer you and try to help you out. But I'm telling you right now, my first face-to-face is an ultimate one. Any of the big guys like Bigfoot Tony and stuff like that, who just kind of blew over it and stuff like that, they're missing out on a piece of gold there, so it is what it is, and YouTube is lousy at sharing me. I deserve a lot more recognition. Some of you people might recognize that, wonder why I'm not one of the top players. And in my books, I try to be just a modest person. I'm just this guy sitting here. I'm nothing special other than I'm similar like you. We're all just human here, right? But yeah, my stuff should be up there. It should be with the top league people, and it just isn't, because people are confused why this guy talks so much about trees and stuff. Thank you, Ron. So peace out, all. Come by anytime, and yeah, I kind of like these lives, so I might do this. People show up and seem to talk and have a good time. Peace out.